This video is brought to you by Project Management Solutions Limited, a Bahamian business committed to showing you ways to use project management skills to make your life better. Monitoring and controlling the project involves inspecting and taking measurements to determine if there are variances so that we can get the project back on track. So far, we have completed the monitor and control project process, perform integrated change control process, and validate scope process. All these processes are included as a part of the monitor and control project process group. In this module, you will be introduced to the control scope, control schedule, and control cost processes. At the end of this module, you should be able to explain the purpose of the control scope process, describe what the process of controlling scope involves, say what any modifications to the agreed upon work breakdown structure is considered as, explain the purpose of the control schedule process, describe some activities that are included as a part of the control schedule process, and describe what is included as a part of cost control. Project scope describes the work that is required to produce the product, service, or result of the project. The broad product scope statement usually includes the product description, which describes the characteristics, features, and functionality of the product, service, or result. The process of controlling scope involves monitoring the status of both the project and the product scope, monitoring changes to the project and product scope, monitoring work results to ensure that they match the expected outcomes. Do you remember the 100% rule that states that collectively all levels of the work breakdown structure roll up to the top so that all project work is captured and no additional work is added? Any modifications to the agreed upon work breakdown structure is considered a scope change. This means that adding or deleting activities or any modifications to the existing activities on the work breakdown structure constitutes a project scope change. Changes in product scope require changes to the project scope as well. Let's say that one of your project deliverables is to design a piece of specialized equipment that is integrated into the final product. Because of engineering setbacks and some miscalculations, the specialized equipment requires design modifications. The redesign of this equipment impacts the end product or product scope. Since changes to the product scope impact the project requirements, which are detailed in the project scope document, changes to the project scope document are also required. These changes, along with the recommended corrective actions, should be processed through the integrated change control process. Unapproved or undocumented changes that sometimes make their way into the project are referred to as scope creep. Scope creep can kill an otherwise viable project. Little changes add up and eventually impact budget, schedule, and quality. Scope control is the process of monitoring the status of the project and product and managing changes to the scope baseline. Controlling the project scope ensures that all requested changes and recommended corrective or preventive actions are processed through the integrated change control process. Project scope control is also used to manage the actual changes when they occur and is integrated with the other control processes. Change is inevitable, thereby mandating some type of change control process. Controlling the project schedule is the process of monitoring the status of the project to update the project's progress and manage changes to the schedule baseline. This includes the following: determining the current status of the project schedule, influencing the factors that create schedule changes, determining that the project schedule has changed, and managing the actual changes as they occur. Performance reviews measure and compare and analyze schedule performance such as actual start and finish dates, percent complete, and remaining duration for work in progress. An important part of schedule control is to decide if the schedule variation requires corrective action. For example, a major delay on any activity not on the critical path may have little effect on the overall project schedule, while a much shorter delay on a critical or near critical activity may require immediate action. Performance reviews measure elements such as start and end dates for scheduled activities and the time remaining to finish incomplete activities. Variance analysis is another technique used for controlling the schedule. Schedule performance measurements, schedule variance, and schedule performance index are used to assess the magnitude of variation from the original schedule baseline. Performance reviews measure elements such as start and end dates for scheduled activities and the time remaining to finish incomplete activities. Variance analysis is another technique used for controlling the schedule. Schedule performance measurements such as schedule variance and schedule performance index are used to assess the magnitude of variation from the original schedule baseline. Controlling cost is the process of monitoring the status of the project to update the project budget and manage changes to the cost baseline. Updating the budget involves recording actual costs spent to date. Any increase to the authorized budget can only be approved through the integrated change control process. Monitoring how much you spend without regard to the value that you're getting has very little value other than to keep track of costs and make sure that you stick to the budget. What really adds value though is that you manage the project spending and do that in relation to assessing the value of the work that you're getting for every dollar spent. And that is what earned value management seeks to teach us. Discussion questions. What is defined as schedule control? Why are performance reviews important as they relate to schedule control? What is variance analysis and why is it used? And what is the key to effective cost control?